Are you ever aware that the way you spend your money is actually the determinant of whether you can aspire to become wealthy or not? Right? So, the way we spend our money. So, in this part of the video, I'm going to be exploring, the way that the broke people, the middle class, and the wealthy spend their money. This is taken from the Rich Dad Poor Dad series of Robert Kiyosaki, and I think that it is very, very important for each and everyone who aspires to become wealthy to understand this simple principle that we have ignored for a long time, but will go a long way in helping us to be able to aspire to become wealthy. That is to create wealth over time and become wealthy. So I'm going to be talking about how broke people, or let me say how poor people, how broke people spend their money, right? So now, if you look at this diagram, right, we talk about income, expenses, assets, and liability. Note that four instruments: your income, your expenses, your assets, your liability. Now, based on Robert Kiyosaki's theory, assets are things that bring money into your pocket. Liabilities are those who take money out of your pocket. So I know that when it comes to accounting and finance, the way we talk about assets and liabilities is different from this formula. But for this purpose of this lecture, we talk about wealth creation, talking about assets as those of your properties that brings you money, and then liabilities are your properties that take away money from you. We get it from now. So, for example, if you have maybe you have shares, you bought shares, which is an asset. Asset, they give you dividend, maybe on a yearly basis. That's an asset, right? Then, if you have a vehicle, then maybe you use it to work all the time. Every time you buy petrol into it, you buy fuel, and then you service it. And everything. That's a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket for you to maintain it. Is it not? So anything that gives you money is your asset. Anything that takes away money from you, is a liability under this particular circumstances. So if you look at why people remain broke, right? Why people remain broke, right? So you see the money in, right? So there's money that comes in, a paycheck or maybe money from business or thereabout. You find out that the money, through the lower arrow here on the left side, right? So all the money went into food, rent, petrol, phone, etc. And the money is out completely. You can see that the asset box and the liability box, nothing happened in that instance because the money has gone into basic living, right? So the food, the rent, the petrol, and so on and so forth like that has taken all the money. Of course, the excuse will be that, the money is not enough. I understand. The money is not enough, but we are talking about the fact that something can still be done about this approach, right? That can also help you to be able to aspire to create wealth, and change your financial story, at the end of the day, right? So this is how broke people spend their money, right? So then let's go to this diagram. You can see the representation of how these things drag you. You can see school fees, utility bill, food, clothing, gas, fuel, kerosene, mobile subscription, transport, house rent. They are all dragging the salary. Even the salary is saying, now won't kill me. You get that kind of thing now. So that is a typical excuse, that is given, by people who earn, in low income, kind of. Then how the middle class spend their money, right? So this is an example, and a middle class person is an example of one who work in good place and earn a reasonable good income, right? A reasonably good income. Maybe you have access to earning more. You work in oil companies. You are in high position. Maybe you're a bank MD or a GM in a bank, or I mean all these blue chip companies that pays well, or maybe your business is good enough. So you can categorize as middle class person. So more often than not, you can see that middle class people spend money more on liabilities. That's the things that takes money out of their pockets. If you look at this diagram, there is income, there is expenditure, right? So there are some basic expenditure you cannot do without. You cannot do without eating, you cannot do without going around. I mean, transporting yourself. But now either you drive or you enter public transportation or some things like that, basically to live. But it's for that immediately people's income increase. But now what they do is buy liabilities. They buy, cars. They join clubs. For now, they join. They buy things that take money out of their pockets, right? So, and of course they take a lot of things. Holidays, specific holidays. They go on specific holidays and so on and so forth like that, right? So things that they enjoy without making provision for how to create assets. Assets being savings, uh, buying properties, that kind of thing now, and so on and so forth like that. They more often than not, don't really pay attention to that. They are more attracted by liabilities. You get it point now. So to show that they are living well, they are living big, that kind of thing now. So that is the trap, of middle class people. They more often than not. That's why some people lose their job within 3 months, no matter how well paid the job is. They become something else. You don't even know that you have passed through any millions in their jobs. So that is what happens, to middle class people, how they spend their money. Now, pay attention to this now, how the rich keep getting richer. This is how the wealthy people, spend their money. So wealthy people, when they earn an income, of course, there are basic expenses, but of course, they also invest most of their money, or they invest their money also in assets. Assets being what brings money into their pockets. So, and as they keep earning like that, they keep investing it in assets. The asset keeps growing, and it is the returns from the asset that they create sometimes that they use to now cater for their liabilities or their, the basic living, right? So I don't want to get that formula. So that is how you can see. That is how, these people get richer, because they earn an income, right? When they earn an income, they invest the income into assets that produce more income, right? So, and then of course they continue that circle, and before you know it, they become, wealthy, right? So this is how the rich guys, the wealthy guys, spend their money, and we can also imbibe that habit as well, right? So that is how you can also, copy, the habit, right, and become like a wealthy people as well. So the way you spend your money, so to say, determines, the circumstances that you find yourself. So you got to learn from the mentality of how rich people became richer. You get it for now? Not necessarily sometimes because they have all the old world, no, but because they have certain habits that they exhibit consistently that gives them, that status, of being able to become wealthy. And when you talk about wealthy, when it's not about flaunting of riches or living big, that's not the meaning of being wealthy. Wealth is like a store of value, right? So a store of value that increases and then of course produces more income, and then of course it makes you to be able to live by the result it brings. I don't know whether you understand me. So that is what wealth is all about, and I think you understand that the way you spend your money, right, determines whether you become wealthy or not. So I'm going to stop here again, and I'm going to unfold much more in the next series of video, right? So thank you very much for now. I'll see you in the final video. Bye bye for now.